Alrighty, sailors, today you are officially never going to fail a boarding process here inside of Windrose. I'm going to show you guys how to cheese a low-level ship all the way to a max-level ship. You could do this 100% solo, and it is very easy. Alrighty, so once you've knocked a ship low enough here in Windrose, you have the ability to pull up alongside it, hit the space bar if you're on keyboard, and it will start the boarding process. Your boarding party will then jump from your ship to their ship when it does get close enough, and then you have an objective in the top right hand side that will show you how many people that you need to kill on the enemy's boat in order for you to complete the boarding process. Alrighty, so for this method to work, when it comes to all the weapons of choices, the two that I prefer the most are two-handed weapons or the ranged options. Whether it's a pistol or a long rifle, it doesn't make a difference. For the two-handed weapons, I prefer a halberd. That's my weapon of choice, but you can also use a greatsword. Both of them work just fine. Now, with that being said, the only downside with the range options is you do have to have enough gunpowder and enough bullets on you to take out all of the remaining sailors required to complete the boarding process. So that one kind of comes in secondary for me compared to the two-handed weapons. And it's also worth noting that you can still do this with one-handed weapons, but just know that you do have to get closer to the enemy. The enemy can still hit you via this cheese if you get too close, and it just takes a little bit longer because you're not really getting the stagger and, not really doing as much damage per hit with a one-handed weapon compared to a two-handed weapon. Alright, so diving into the first cheese method, we'll start off with a low-level ship here. I'm going to be utilizing a low-level halberd. This one here is only level 6. We're going to be going into it. Now, again, my stats and stuff are obviously increased because I am level 14, but just discard that. It doesn't matter whatsoever. We're going to be utilizing this level 6 weapon. We're going to start the boarding process. Once we've started the boarding process here, I'm going to go ahead and actually take off my sailors and remove them, so then that way there are like literally level 1 guys. They're going to get killed right away. We're just going to simply hang out here and wait until they are all dead, and then we're going to allow all the enemies to focus on me, because this is essentially going to be the ideal situation of what's going to happen. Alrighty, so once all of our crewmates are dead, we're going to head to the bow of the ship, or the very front portion of the ship, and you can see we can kind of phase and walk in between some of these things that are on the front of the ship. Well, not only can you walk through them, you can also attack through them. So if we sit here on the bow, we slowly back up out of reach. You can see all the enemies packed up here into the front trying to get me because I'm still technically on their ship. I can go ahead and hit the heavy attack, which with the halberd will bring a smash from the top down, kind of like a chopping motion. With that being said, it pretty much will damage not one, but multiple enemies within that area, and you can just literally rinse and repeat this. Again, if you have food or anything like that to buff your endurance, this will make it a lot easier and a lot faster because you can do more heavy attacks without running out of stamina. But if you do find yourself in a pickle where you can't, or you don't have that food, that's okay. You just rinse and repeat every time you regenerate your stamina. You continue to do this method over and over again until you kill all of these sailors in the top right hand corner to complete the boarding objective. And it works beautifully, but it can take quite a bit of time depending on your level. If your gear level is a lot lower, you're going to be doing a lot less damage. If your stats and your character level is a lot lower, you're going to have a lot less stamina. I mean, again, it's just all about your level and what you're bringing with you on the boarding party. But if you find yourself in this situation, it does come in clutch. It just takes quite a bit of time to pull off. And it's also worth noting here that it's not just for this specific level ship. This goes for basically any of the ships in the game that have a front bow. You can easily jump on top of there, whether you hop on the cannons to get to the front, or you can just run around the outside edge from the railing. You name it, it makes it very easy to do. And if a sailor does happen to run away from you, and maybe you're like, you got 1 or 2 kills left that you need to complete the objective, you just need to hop down off of the bow, hop back up onto the bow after they aggro back to you before they obviously get to you and hit you. So again, just something to keep in mind. It does actually work pretty much for any level ship. Alrighty, so cranking it up a notch, let's go to a mid-level ship. Again, I'm going to show you guys how this does work even for, pretty much every ship in the game. Where once again, we're going to start the boarding process after we get the health down of the ship really, really low. You can see here that I did take off my boarding party again, so making sure that they're literally just level 1 so they can die really fast. Go ahead and start the boarding process. We're going to jump over top of the ship. It does take a little bit of time here for us to have our boarding party killed, even though I have the boarding party technically off on my ship. But either way, once they do go ahead and kill them, we're waiting right here in the front, ready for them to go. And then now they are going to be officially aggroed on me. Once again, we're going to make our way to the front of the bow of the ship, and then we're just going to sit here and rinse and repeat, spamming the button over and over again to do heavy attacks so that we can kind of hacks, down from the top. We're going to hit multiple enemies. Sometimes we hit only one. 1. Sometimes we can hit the head and even get a crit. So you name it, it works out really well, again, depending on your weapon. I do have a level 6, a level 11 halberd, and I also have the plague halberd, which I'm going to show you guys on a max level 15 ship because I really love the AoE ability that it provides. A little side tip here that if you do get too close from on the front of the bow, the enemies can still hit you. And also here, a sergeant utilizing its gun can and cannot hit you. What I mean by that is I've had both experiences actually happen where I did get shot by one of the sergeants once, and I've also had it to where they've shot me or tried to shoot me multiple times and they never were able to hit me. So I think it just kind of depends on your placement, where you are according to like the props that are you're kind of phased in and out of. But nevertheless, it does work very well. You can also, like I said, use a one-handed weapon, but again, it does require you to get closer to the bottom side of the bow or the ship, closer to the enemy. They can sometimes reach out and hit you at the exact same time you're going to hit them. So again, just try to plan that accordingly. I would recommend just bringing, honestly, a two-handed weapon, whether it's a greatsword or a halberd with you. Alrighty, let's turn up the heat even more here for a level 15 max level ship here. All right, don't mind the intro. I almost get destroyed by these ships. I just got my frigate crafted and made, and I have the 24 pounders on my Blackbeard frigate, but I don't have enough materials yet farmed to level them up. So my cannons are super low level. My hull is super low level. So again, just don't mind the footage, guys. It's something I'm working on, or it's a work in progress. Anyways, here, once you do start the boarding process with a level 15 ship, again, my boarding party is completely removed, so they're going to get destroyed very fast, a lot faster this time, actually. With that being said, though, we're going to pull out the plague halberd for this one. We're going to use some coffee to get that extra endurance in, so we can have more stamina. We're going to go ahead and head to the bow of the ship. Now, this one's a little bit different because these ships do get bigger with the frigate designs and the brig designs. Anyways, you could go ahead and sit down here on the lower level on this one, but again, the same exact method works. You're going to go ahead and wait till they kind of stack up on you. You just rinse and repeat by swinging and doing heavy attacks. Like you can see here, I hit multiple enemies multiple times. It allows you to kill them a lot easier, and we're just going to slowly work our way all the way up to killing 20 of these guys to complete the entire boarding process. These high-level ships get a megaton of Piastre, baby. We make a ton of money doing this, and like I said, you can be 100% done solo. This is a method that you should use to your advantage if you find yourself in this situation, or you could just use it to farm a bunch of Piastre if you want, because it's a thing that's legally in the game as of right now, which I'm sure they may or may not fix in the future. If you happen to be watching this in the future and it doesn't work, let me know down below in the comments. But at the time of this video, sailors, it does work, and with that being said, guys, use it to your advantage. Get all of the Piastre that your heart desires. Go buy all of the recipes, all of the vendors, everything that you possibly need here to complete your ship's build or anything that you want here for your entire base. Let me know down below in the comments if this video helped you out, if you tried out some of these cheeses and they were successful for you. With that being said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here on the channel for everything Windrose, baby. We're almost to 100,000 subscribers, and I'm trying to hit it by the end of 2026. And with that being said, as always, guys, I'll see ya on the next one.